and then 4 girls, and then myself as the last one. I am born, and 9 months down the road, my dad walks out, and my mom doesn't know what to do. So she moves in this very same town of Nakuru. She moves in this small house. It's a council house, which is about 12 by 12. This sitting room is big. It's just from there to just probably by the door and around. And it was everything in one. The sitting room is the bedroom is the kitchen is the dining. And whoa. And she also kept some chicken in the house. And she brewed alcohol in the house. The alcohol was illegal to do. She had to do it in the middle of the night, or it was saved from the police to do it. And I'm told by my sisters, every time she brewed it, I will faint myself. The smell of it will be too strong for me. I'll be overwhelmed. And it used to be crazy. So my sisters would grab me, run outside in the middle of the night, screaming, our baby, our baby. And then I get that cool breeze, come back to life. And that was life. She didn't know what else to do. She kept on doing it. And during the day, she wasn't home. She was extremely busy trying to sell the stuff. At night, what is that for? Let's see. So, yeah, that's Peter. Millie?
Yes.
Hebu pigia Peter simu, umuulize anatakaje. Pigia Peter simu, umuulize anatakaje. Peter Bosman.
Simu yangu iko ndani.
Sawa. Shika hiyo ongea naye. Okay. So yeah. And during the day she was so busy, like any other person, outside in the bush selling it where she's secure. So she was never home. Our big brothers and our big sisters became like the parental figures for us. But this wasn't just for my family. Within the estate, about 90 to 95% were single mothers, and their lifestyle was almost the same. So within the estate, kids got into gang culture, and for us it's just like the younger generation is envying the topper generation. We think they're doing far much better, and we always want to be like them. For me, the person who was my role model was my big brother, because he loved me so very much. He would go out, he would come back home, and he'd come up with a whole packet of sweets, all for me, and he'd throw it to me, I'd grab it, and for me that meant the world. So every time I grab that one, kind of, I'll go outside the house, and all the kids in the area, they'll all be swarming to me. So I'll share my sweets. But by doing that, I ended up earning a lot of respect from the kids, and I kind of became like their leader. And within no time, I started school to primary 3 when I was about 9 years old. And before I got into 9 years old, when I was about 7.5, I think my brother died, so the sweets stopped coming. And for me, my passion was, I want to be like my brother. I miss him a lot. He had died, and he died a horrible death. So it's just like, I want to be like him. What did he do? He was a mugger. He stole small things from people. But one day he was caught and stoned to death and buried under the rubble of stones. Myself and my mom screaming. I'm following my mom screaming. We removed the stone, the rubble of stone. By the time we get to him, he's at the point of ready for the morgue. That wasn't the only serious case in the estate. That was very, very common in our estate, because within the gang cultures, that's what they did. Every other time they were shot at randomly. Sometimes the police, the police with their dogs will come with the German shepherds, release them in the estates, and they terrorize people. Sometimes you're fighting with the police. We have stones on the other side. They have guns on the other side. And that was okay within the estate. When I was 9 years old, kind of, me and so many of the boys that used to follow me, we went on the streets. So we became street kids. And I stayed on the streets when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, approaching 13. That was my life on the streets. So you get initiated. When you get on the streets, you get initiated to the gang culture. You've got to do drugs. You've got to do crazy stuff to survive there. And every time you do one crime after the other, you keep on being initiated into the higher group hierarchy, and you end up into this group of the bigger boys that you feel, yeah. But the reality of it is, the bigger boys always use the smaller kids to do the main stuff of the things, and that's how it was. But we always envied them. They became our role model. We just wanted to be like them, and we became like them. And on the street, you scavenge in bins to make ends meet, to get your food. At night, you keep yourself warm under a bonfire made out of car tires, worn-out car tires. So the soot of it coming all over you. Showering wasn't something that we were associating ourselves with. We didn't even care about changing clothes. So for me, when I was about 12, approaching 13, that's when my life turned around. We had learned a little bit of survival tactic on the streets. In this same town, Nakuru, on the main highway by the stadium, you just drop straight and you move towards the national park. And then tourists used to come and walk towards the national park. And we used to go by the main road and look at them, stretch our hands to them, and ask them for a shilling. And because of the way you looked, many of them would never want to get closer to you. And the ones that kind of felt like, I need to do something, they'll get into their pocket, get the coin, and toss it to you so that you don't get close to them, which was understandable to us. For us, all we wanted was the coin. Give me the coin, you go do your stuff. So this particular afternoon, I wake up a bit early in the afternoon, probably between 1:30, and I've got my hangovers. The boys had woken up ahead of me. Normally we'd do some business, make a little bit of money for next day's drugs and get our fix. But when I woke up, normally we'd ransack other kids' pockets. So I realized I didn't have any money. The kids had taken the money before me. So what do? Go to the road, stretch your hand to the tourists as they pass. So the very first guy that I stretched my hand to, asking him for a shilling, I went, a shilling please? This guy was quite unique. He was not like any other tourist. He didn't try to avoid us, no. He didn't try to get the coin to his pocket and get the coin, toss it to me, no. Instead, he came to me, and I looked at him and thought, what on earth is going on? Mm-hmm. He stretched his hand, I gave him my hand. Now, in me, for anyone who's mature as a man, I had a lot of hatred and bitterness, because kind of my mom had a lot of bitterness and hatred towards men, and they used to tell me every negative thing about men, and it's just like, your dad, men, they're not good, don't listen to them, don't do it, anything. And one of the things she used to say about my dad, when I was on the street, sometimes we would do stuff and get some money, and I'd take it back, sometimes take it to my mom, and she never asked me to get out of the streets, no way. And it was normal within the estate. So one of the things she used to tell me is like, son, I'm so proud of you. I know one day you'll make it in life, and when you make it in life, I know you buy your own car, and then when you bought your own car, I want you to do me a favor. And I'll go, yes mom, what is it? And she'll tell me, once you've got your car, this is what I want you to do. If you see your dad, drive on him. And for me, I didn't have anything else to live for. That was all I was living for. One day, I'll put a smile on my mama's face, I'll see my dad and run over him. And the challenging thing is that I never seen him. I didn't know how he looked like. So all that remained in me was also bitterness against men. So when I was with this man, he's stretching his hand to me. I give him my hand, and he's like, why are you not in school? For me, the answer is simple. Money. I thought he'd just give me the shilling and go. So I'm cooperating with him because I'm dying of my fix. So it's just like, he goes on and asks the second question. If I take you to school and pay the money, would you be willing to get education? I don't know, my head signifying yes. Behind my head, I didn't want education. All I wanted was a shilling. It's just like, give me the shilling and go. After all, you're a man. I don't care about men. It's okay with my own young guys, peers, but that man was completely unique. He meant every word that came out of his lips. When I said, yeah, this man took me and walked with me to the nearest school. He talked with the proprietors of the school. For me, it was like, why doesn't he give me the money and go and use the shilling? Then he walked with me to the nearest shopping center. He took me to a barber shop. I got a haircut. I was like, what's going on? I got cleaned. And then he took me to the next shop and bought me a brand new pair of shoes. Now that killed me because in my life, I had never worn a pair of shoes. I had never worn some pair of trousers. So he bought me a brand new school uniform, shoes, socks, school bag, and books, and took me back to the school. He paid all the money to cover my primary level. But when he did that, for me, for the first time, something leaped inside of me. For the first time, I felt loved. For the first time, I felt like my mom has always been wrong. This is not how men are. There are good men in this world. And everything changed within me. So I went to school. He paid all the money to cover primary level. And then he went away one afternoon, changed my life. That man's name was Albert. He was a tourist from England. So I tell people about him, and they tell me he was an angel. I tell them no, because angels are not made in England, are they? So, but in reality, angels are ministering spirits. And this man saw beyond my temporary need. He saw my desperation. He saw what would really influence my life. And he ministered to me. So I still kind of say he's like my angel. His name was Albert. I don't know his second name. I've never heard from him again. I don't know where about in England he had come from. And it just spilled from that. But down the road, I ended up becoming a Christian. I was still doing a little bit of trials and the like. And I was coming down here. I found these guys singing, playing music. And I went to where they were. When they were playing music, they were Christians. And I thought, wow, good to listen to their music. When I went there, the very thing I felt when Albert took me by the hand and took me, bought me brand new pair of shoes, did all that, loved me, I felt that very thing there. I could smell it. And I looked at everyone there. And I thought, are they hiding him here? This is my day to meet that Albert. But they were Christians. They just sang. And then there was someone who came and he stood on a table and he was speaking. I don't know what he spoke. But at the end of it, he said one thing. He said, if you want to see Albert, lift up your hand. That's what I heard me. And I lifted up my hand. But they didn't show me Albert. I thought I'll lift up my hand and they'd show me Albert. Instead, they took me to a church. And that's how they made me a Christian. So I tell people I wasn't preached to, but rather I was loved in. So these guys were very, very good to me. They loved me. They helped me. They taught me a little bit of music, which opened doors in my life. And at the end of it, I completed my primary level and then got into high school. I did 2 years in high school, dropped out because there's no money for school fees in high school. I had learned music. I started playing music. I got an opportunity to play. Yeah. Yeah. So I got an opportunity to play music to a big crowd of about 180,000. Wow. When we had this man from Germany, his name was Reinhard Bunke. Yeah. He came preaching in this town, and I was chosen to play the bass guitar. So I played music, and that opened doors for me. People from Nairobi, they took me to go and train some people to play music in Nairobi. And then out of that, I got an opportunity to go to Scotland to study. I went to Scotland, did a bit of studies, and then came back. I moved back to Nakuru. I started my property business. It was doing very well. Within no time, I had bought myself a Land Cruiser 4x4. Still a single boy. I had a 2-bedroom apartment, still single, and I didn't know. It's just like, what else could I do? I got an office. I had like 10 people working for me in my office, and my world had come together. So it's me living my dream. I couldn't ask for anything else. everything was working for me right. Until one afternoon, I had come down to my office, which is in the main street in Nakuru town, and something happened that changed my life completely. When I was down there, a boy, the other side is a supermarket, there's a boy in between, there's a woman in between, and I'm standing just off on my office. And a boy comes running from the supermarket side. He runs and mugs this lady of her handbag. And he comes straight to me. And I see and I think, wow, that's what my brother did. And he was killed. So I took the boy by the hand. He came straight to me. I took him, took the bag, passed it back to the lady. And I started speaking to the boy. I told the boy, listen, if you want to die young, that's the kind of life you live. I told him about my brother. I told him about one other boy that died who was very close to me. This boy mugged someone. The consequences of that was he was undressed, left nude, tied with barbed wires, and plastic stuff burning on his fetus. He's writhing in pain. Police comes passing, and the mob is all around. They ask what's going on. They say he's a mugger. And the police, the only hope is there, diverts, tell the mob, call us once you finish with him. The police disappear, and the boys writhing there in pain. We are from a distance looking. We can't get close just in case he say, those are part of my gang. We are looking from a distance, no one to help. And when I tell this boy these stories, the boy had his mouth open and looking at me. And at the end of it, he told me, help me. Now, when he said that, it's just like I came to the realization, what? This is me. I looked at the boy, I didn't see the boy. I saw me in the boy. I saw myself as Albert. The only difference is I was asking for money to destroy myself. Now this boy is asking for a chance, for help. I looked at the boy and told him, I can only help you, but under one condition. If you're willing to go back to school. He said he's willing to go back to school. So I took the boy. Within no time, in my spare bedroom, I had 5 kids staying with me. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't want it. And I gave up completely. I took them to boarding school. I supported them. And I stopped doing it. But then it had become a passion and a call in my life. So something down the road happened again. I helped another kid get back to school. And I decided I'll never do it again. I went starting to help other people do their own stuff, help them organize things, kept on doing my business, and I tried to close my eyes into it. But then the call was there. We went and bought the land there. We thought, oh, what an investment. We'll just do something, we don't know what. But at the end of it, that something became the school. The orphanage wasn't meant just for an orphanage. We were just buying the house, we were thinking, oh, we'll convert it into something else. But then we had the passion of working with the kids start, and then I had Andreas and some of the guys visiting from the UK, and I decided, well, I think I've had it. This is what I want us to do. And we made some beds, talked with some of the kids who used to come to my office, and we picked them, brought them to the orphanage, and we had 10 kids at the orphanage, and that's how it's all started. And within no time, I sold everything I had, left everything, and it became my life. I gave myself into it, and to date, there's no turning back. I've no cause of regrets. There's nothing that I could exchange for that at the moment. I just love it with the whole of my life, and that's how it's all becoming together. So I never had plans of it, but the amazing thing is just everything has just been like a jigsaw. As it comes together and as it grows, it becomes clearer. It starts getting clearer as we go on. And for me, the more it keeps becoming clearer, the more I get passion for it. I get passionate towards it. The more like I want to impress it more. The more I feel excited about it, and it's just amazing. But at the moment, I could say I'm so honored to be at the center of it. Yeah, so to have people that can believe in it. I always say, kind of, God has always pushed people together to believe together with me. And most of the ideas, honestly, they haven't been my ideas. I've had the passion, but I hear people speak of something, I think, yeah, we can do that. Let's do it. And it becomes part of the bigger picture. And then we keep driving together. And it's just become amazing to be part of what is happening there within the community. And especially to be set at the center of it is quite humbling. I talk about it with a lot of passion, and sometimes I get people who try to tell me, you need to stop. And I say, tell people now, well, at the moment I don't have anything else to live for. This is my life. If I stop, it's just like saying, I stop living. But it's become my passion, it's become my everything. I embrace it with the whole of myself, and I just feel like I need to keep going. Now, what gives me the morale and the spirit to keep going? It's not the wealth that I have, no. But it is the hope that I've got and the dreams that I've managed to dream about the whole thing and see them come together. I look at myself and the background that I've come from. I see me when I had nothing. I was on the streets. I know kids who have grown in families that have, but they've never managed anything like what we've done. I've never inherited anything, but God has trusted me enough to entrust me with such a responsibility. That means a lot. And I tell people, for me to stop dreaming, I'll be limiting what is happening, because when I look at all this, it's not my doing, it's not my ability. It's happened. So if I stop dreaming, it stops happening. So what do? Keep trying then. So it's like, I want to dream bigger and see it come to pass. So if it's happening, it's happening. It's miraculous, but it's happening. Yeah. And that's why I keep on dreaming now. The new place is just like, it's becoming hard for me to explain to people, how do I bring it together? And I was telling Andreas, you know what, I'm thinking of just starting something else, and if anyone asks, I'll tell him it's about to ask him.
Yes.
So he's doing it. It's not me. I can't do it. I look at it and I think, how on earth did it happen? I can't afford it. We got kids like Nancy here, who's going through the university. And when you look at that, how do we do that? We think, how do we afford it? How do we manage it? It's just impossible with our own abilities. But God keeps coming through, and we keep seeing things happening, unfolding, and it's just amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's me.
Amazing, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Millie, what do you say? I can see the table before.